Good morning, Kasturians, and welcome to video 3 of chapter The Expansion of British Power. In this video, we will see the growth of British influence in Mysore, in Punjab, and the subsidiary alliance and the doctrine of lapse. So let's start. After the Battle of Buxar, in which the Indian army led by Mir Qasim Sujauddaulah, the Nawab of Awadh, and Shah Alam to the Mughal emperor, it was defeated and the treaty was signed and the Diwani rights were given to the East India Company. So the military, they also came under the control of British East India Company. Now the company, after getting Diwani rights, it was directly collecting the revenue, and only a small amount of the revenue was given to Nawab to run the administration. So entire power got concentrated in the hands of British, the power to generate income but without any responsibility. On the other hand, the Nawab has to bear all the responsibility but no power and no income. This arrangement came to be known as the dual or double government. The people of Bengal, they suffered adversely because during the famine also the company or the Nawab, they didn't provided any relief. Instead they continued their way of getting taxes or collecting taxes. The dual system ended in 1772 and the direct control of the company was established in Bengal. The new government formed was headed by the Governor General Warren Hastings, and he started further expansion for the British influence in India. For this, different policies were adopted. Now let us see. The British launched war against the Marathas and the Kingdom of Mysore. So the Kingdom of Mysore was it was established by Hyder Ali and it was being ruled by Tipu Sultan. Now why the Britishers, they wanted to control Mysuru or Mysore? Actually it was controlling a large part of the spices trade, and the ruler of Mysuru, both Hyder Ali and now Tipu Sultan, they didn't wanted to trade with British, or they didn't wanted the British to enter in this region for trade. That's why they were against the British, and the Britishers, they saw these rulers as their enemy. Also Tipu was much inclined towards the French. He was having friendly relations with the French, which the Britishers obviously didn't liked. And between 1766 and 1799, four wars were fought between Mysore and the British, and during the fourth Anglo-Mysore war, Tipu Sultan was defeated and he decided better to die like a soldier than to live a miserable dependent on the infidels. And he died on 4th May 1799 while he was defending his capital city Srirangapatnam. So Tipu was a great warrior. Also Tipu Sultan was patron of modern science. He was having friendly relations with the French, so he was training his army in the European style. He was hiring French experts to train the army. This also was not liked by the British, and ultimately after the death of Tipu in the fourth Anglo-Mysore war, the entire control of Mysuru or Mysuru, that is the present name of Mysore, it came into the hands of the British East India Company. Similarly, the same fate was with the Marathas. In the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761, the Maratha chief Peshwa was defeated, and in the Third War also, with the defeat of the Peshwa, the Maratha power declined, and the Britishers they destroyed the Maratha power completely. The Peshwa was sent to exile to North India, and the territories of the Peshwa were taken over by the British. After Warren Hastings, Sir Lord William Wellesley, he became the Governor General of India in 1798, and he further expanded the British influence by introducing the system of subsidiary alliance and by means of outright wars. Now, what was subsidiary alliance? Subsidiary, that is aligned to someone who is the main, who will be the main or key player. In this system, the king or the ruler of the Indian states was to accept the monopoly of the British, and he was not allowed to keep an army of his own. He would keep a British army for his own protection, and for the maintenance of that army he will pay a definite or fixed amount to the British. The ruler can also cede the part of his territory to the British. Also, if the ruler wants to enter an alliance with another ruler, or the ruler is trying to declare a war against another kingdom, the permission for the same has to be taken from the British, and a resident, that is a British official, will be appointed in the ruler's court to see any other European power could not enter into the kingdom, or any other official or any other European power would not be allowed to enter into the court. So this is how the Britishers wanted to solidify their position. This system of subsidiary alliance was very advantageous. Why? Because the army was British really, and the British army was maintained by the British, but the maintenance charges were to be borne by the Indians. So the Britishers were able to maintain a large army at the cost of Indian rulers, and the cost for maintaining army will be paid by the rulers. Also, the defense and foreign affairs were to be indirectly controlled. Why? Because a resident British official will be stationed in the ruler's court, so they cannot get entry, they cannot give entry to any other foreign element. Also, to declare war or to enter into an alliance, the Indian rulers have to take permission. So the Indian rulers were restricted, and they were made to dependent on the British army for their protection, which they are not going to do that. So the very first ruler who entered into the subsidiary alliance was the Nizam of Hyderabad, and he signed this treaty in 1798. Later on, the Nawab of Awadh also followed and signed the treaty. Peshwa Bajirao too also signed the subsidiary treaty at Bassein in 1802, and many Rajputana chiefs also accepted the supremacy of British, and they signed this subsidiary alliance. This solidified the Britishers as the ultimate rulers of India. Now, from 1805 to 1848, the British power expanded rapidly. They conquered Java and Sumatra from the Dutch. They also occupied Singapore and Sarawak in Malay Peninsula, and these victories established the British supremacy in navy also and in the naval region, and The Southeast Asian trade, it came directly under the control of British. Also, the kingdoms of Nepal and Burma were defeated and they were forced to provide territories to the British to carry on in uninterrupted trade. And in this way, in the northwest, the British, they extended their influence up to river Satluj and they annexed Sindh in 1843. That's all we have in this video. In the next video we will see how Punjab was annexed. Thank you and have a nice day.